very, very exciting. Don't know what's happening. Yeah, sorry. And tonight I will be told how did I go about going from a toilet cleaner to a principal engineer of a very large employer here in Brisbane. So in 3 years, yeah. So I'll share my journey in Australia, and then this issue or this subject came about during the last live session, and then since then, few people asked me to share my story with you guys. So because they certainly identified themselves with my story, I probably, like most of you, came as an international student. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of luxuries here when we arrived. We arrived in a backpacker. We went to a backpacker. In fact, when we arrived in Brisbane, we didn't even have a booking, an accommodation booked. So it was quite an adventure. That was back in 2005, just myself and my wife. So, and hopefully I will be able to share some of the professional hints that help my journey that potentially can help you as well. So yeah, it would be good to know if you guys are hearing me all right, because I would hate to see that I'm talking here and you guys are not hearing. So if you can put in the comments if you are positive or negative, or yes or no, if you're hearing me, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for, I think, Fernanda in Instagram. And again, I'm going, when I'm looking here, I'm looking at YouTube. And when I'm looking a little bit to my left, I've got Facebook. So I can cover most of the social media. And some people don't even have Instagram, so that's why I do YouTube and Facebook as well. But first, for those that don't know me, I'm Ida. I'm the founder of www.engineersinaustralia.com, a website to share valuable content and useful information for your journey to validate your engineering qualification in Australia. And also share some information about information that it's important for engineers to know here in Australia about workplace health and safety, environmental management, and like today, some hints about job recruitment and how you can get a professional job here in Australia. And if you stay here until the end, as usual, I'll give you my free ebook that I wrote about the 10 challenges that most overseas engineers they face when they arrive in Australia. It's a book about the 10 challenges that I faced when I arrived, and I noticed that in these 15 years that I've been living in Australia, a lot of the engineers they face similar issues or similar barriers or challenges, and that's why I wrote this ebook. It's not long; it's just 35 pages. Got some pictures and large font, so it's easy to read, but hopefully it will be useful for your journey as well. And I'm very happy that since I finished the free workshop, 11 days of engineering qualification workshop, when we ended a couple of weeks ago, I already received many questions and many requests asking when is going to be the next free workshop, because people they miss out the beginning, or they couldn't attend the whole workshop, and the workshop finished 2 weeks ago. So I am planning to do another free workshop perhaps in mid-June, so probably in about 30 days or 1 month time. So if you're interested, I believe that in Facebook, I put in the description of this live the link for you to register to the next workshop. And on Instagram, if you want to register to the next free workshop, you can go to my bio. There is a link there called there. It will open a box with some buttons, and the first one is to register for the 11 days of engineering qualification validation. And on YouTube, I will probably type in the link bit.ly/register VF5. So YouTube, I put in the comments there, and you guys can register there. I don't really have a date yet because, as you know, it's 11 days. It's a lot of time commitment, and I need to be able to fit in those 11 days in my calendar. As you know, I work full time, and I do this in my spare time. That's what I'm doing on Sunday, and I have to fit in my calendar 11 days that I can put aside and push back a little bit things at work, so I can leave a little bit early. That means I need to go to work a little bit early as well. So, but probably it's going to be mid-June, and I'm planning to do a few things differently from the last workshop. So it's going to be really, really exciting. I'm planning to bring partners as well to talk about immigration, to talk about education things, etc. So it will be really, really interesting. So let's start with the content, and send me a question in the comments, or send me to go from a toilet cleaner. Yes, when I arrived here, I worked as a toilet cleaner. For those in Brisbane, if you know the Suncorp building, the one with the big clock at the top, I was cleaning the toilets from floor number 7 until the ground floor. So 7 floors of toilets, 4 toilets per floor, so 28 toilets every night. And I did that for about probably 8 to 10 months. And I was having interviews live on TV. I was having meetings with Jaime Lerner, the governor of my state. And I had a good job at the time. After that, I ended up going to the local government, Curitiba City, my city, a prefeitura of Curitiba, and I was the director of logistics for the education department as well, looking after all the schools, buildings and construction, etc., as a good engineer they usually do. And then suddenly, in 2005, my wife, she decided that she needed to learn English, and she decided to come to Australia, a country that obviously speaks English, and the weather was good. We used to live in Curitiba City, very cold, and we're a bit of a sick of the cold as well. So she's chosen Brisbane, because it was saying that there was 300 of sunny days in a year. So that's paradise. If somebody lived in Curitiba, they know how difficult it is with overcast weather, rainy, cold, etc. So living in a place that you get 300 days of sunny days is really, really nice. So we arrived here in Brisbane back in 2005, was the 5th of June 2005. My wife, she came to study English. We didn't know much about Australia. We didn't know much about visas. I ended up paying a course to study diploma of business, and that didn't know that I could be her partner, being married to her. I could be under her student visa, and then we didn't need to pay for my diploma of business course. But everything in life happens because it needs to happen, and you will understand why very, very soon. It's part of my journey. So we started studying English, my wife English and myself diploma of business at Holmes College. I think it was Herschel Street, and then there was a immigration exposition in Melbourne back then, and when I read on the internet, there was a lot of companies and employers, because the immigration department, they were trying to connect professionals and companies, and that's a good hint for you guys. I don't know if immigration departments still do that, but some of those government agencies, they have these sort of expositions. They try to connect professionals and companies. And the immigration department did that in 2005. So I put together my resume, and at that time I was already working as a cleaner cleaning my toilets. And but I put together my resume, and I asked my diploma of business teacher to just to check if the resume was according to the Australian standards. And when he looked at it, for those that probably know me, I've got, as majority of us Brazilians probably, we have a lot of post-graduation studies. So I had a lot of post-graduation studies, got MBA, etc., etc. Study outside in Japan, France. So I had a very good, I still have obviously a very good resume. And when he looked at that, he said, "Oh, is this your resume?" I said, "Yes, it is." Yeah, he said, "Oh, yeah, you should be teaching us." I said, "No, no, I'm learning, and all the terminology in English and etc. was useful at the classes." And then he said to me, "Gerson, I'll introduce you to my mom because she's got a company and she won a contract with the government, and she's looking for somebody with your profile." And I said, "All right, that's good. I'll talk to her, but I'm going to Melbourne first, and I'm going to this exposition, etc., etc." So we went to Melbourne. I spoke with a lot of companies. I gave my resume, but nobody called me at the time. So I went to mining companies and construction companies, but nobody really called me. And I came back to myself and my wife. We came back to Brisbane, a bit disappointed because they're saying, "Yeah, but you don't really have a visa. We need somebody with a visa." At that time, they were still thinking about extending, giving permanent visas to people back in 2005. So I said, "That's all right." So when I came back to Brisbane, I rang my teacher's mom, and she was saying, "Yeah, we probably need to have a chat. Are you free for an interview?" And I said, "Yes, I am, but it needs to be probably in town because I finish my classes in about 2:33, and then 6 p.m. I got to start my cleaning job. So I got 3 hours, and I didn't have a car at the time. I just have a bicycle, so couldn't really go and come back, etc." So we ended up meeting in a car park, Roma Street Parkland. Those in Brisbane, they know Roma Street Parkland car park. So we met there because my school was close to Roma Street, and we did the interview in the car. And she liked my experience. In Brazil, I used to be a post-graduation teacher as well at university, and she wanted somebody to do consulting and training on business and project management. And because I had experience in teaching, she said, "Oh yeah, that's probably perfect because you know how to teach and you're also a civil engineer." And her client was a construction company as well. So, but at that time, I wasn't really still an engineer. I was a consultant delivering training and consulting in business and project management. Not quite an engineer, but and I said that I just could work 20 hours a week because I was studying. At that time, I was already preparing my validation paperwork. I had already started my reports and everything, preparing myself for IELTS. And I said, I can just work 20 hours a week. She said, "No, that's all right." So I started there back in 2005. So just showing that how it's important, and that's a very good hint. In the chat that I had with Tiago at Hello Australia just last week shows that how important is networking. So you guys that are here and struggling to probably find your first professional job, networking is very, very important. I know that you guys are students. You perhaps don't really have a lot of knowledge of where to do networking, but that's why we have these groups. And that's why I created my website as well. That's why I have my Telegram group with more than 400 people now, because I can share where we can do network. The Australian Institute of Project Management is a very good place to do networking. Engineers Australia, they actually hold free events. Well, now it's online, but they used to hold free events so you could meet other engineers, you could meet companies. So networking is really, really important. And it was about the networking. I was studying there, and I spoke with my teacher that he introduced me to his mom. So that was back in 2006. And then I was still working as a cleaner, and then I started to work with her. In the beginning, I was not working the full 20 hours because I was still working cleaning a little bit. During my holidays, as you know, we can work 40 hours a week. During the holidays, I was working at the ECA. I worked at ECA cleaning all the toilets and pubs, and I was frying chips. I was looking after 12 fryers of chips for the ECA, pretty much working from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. in the morning. And because I had my cleaning at Suncorp building from 6 until 10, and I was riding my bicycle and then madly going back home and sleeping half an hour, and then etc etc. So but then in 2006 I validated my qualification, so I became a recognized civil engineer in Australia in 2006. And then in the beginning of 2006, because I was working with her, and I was doing I think a good job, she asked me to work full time. She asked me to work 40 hours a week, and I said sorry, I can't, because I'm on a student visa and I can just work 20 hours a week. I'm planning to apply for my skilled independent visa, and I don't want issues or complications with the immigration department. So, and then her son said, yeah, mom, we can have him working 40 hours a week, because she wanted me to travel around the state to deliver my training and consulting in other parts of the state. And he said that we could sponsor him. So, and she said, Jerson, we can sponsor you. So if you do everything and go after how we can sponsor you, we'll do that. So I went after, I went to the immigration department, etc., and qualified the company. I applied everything, and I got a sponsor visa then. So she was very happy with the job that I was doing, and I got at that time was a 457 visa, and got the sponsorship visa. In the meantime, I had already obviously validated my qualification. I had everything to apply for independent skilled visa, and I did. That was back in 2006. So I kept working there, and I'm going to talk about the main achievements that we achieved when I was working there. But then back in 2008, when I was delivering one of the consulting services and the training with that company, one of my students, he said, oh, Jerson, did you know, and that was the Department of Transport and Main Roads at the time, did you know that there's an opening vacancy for a principal engineer in Brisbane? I said, oh, yeah, no, I didn't know. I don't have access to the system, but yeah, there's an opening there. So they opened a vacancy for principal engineer. And I said, all right, I will apply for that. So, and that's probably another hint, very important for you guys, because in companies, especially obviously Australian companies, when somebody, let's say, I'd say that in this particular position, the person that was in that position, he left the department, so created the opening. So when somebody leaves the position, pretty much straight away somebody starts what you call acting, or relieving in that position. So somebody from internal was already working that position, and because the position is vacant, somebody then gotta do the job, and then somebody internally, they probably do the job while they doing the recruitment. So I knew that because my students from the department, they told me that usually that's what happens. So I had few challenges. One challenge, because English is not my first language, so during the interview and everything, even the written application has got to be in English, so it's a challenge. Second, because I didn't quite have Australian experience in that particular field. I was going to look after the asset management for the roads and bridges here in Brisbane and the metropolitan region. So I didn't have that experience here. So I ended up having some strategies, and these are some of the hints that probably can help you. So I did my homework, and in some of the lives before, I talk about some hints about resume, cover letter, and how to behave in an interview. I'll probably do it again because I think it's a topic that is very important for you guys. I did my homework. I got a letter. I applied for the job. I was shortlisted. I got a phone call saying that I was shortlisted for the position, and they sent me a letter in the email saying that the panel was going to be those people there, the date of your interview, and the time, etc. And they sent me questions as well. The questions that they to ask me at the interview, so I could prepare myself. So I did my homework. I looked up the people that were part of the panel to understand what they were doing, their role within the organization, uh, and what sort of technical background they had, if they were technical engineers or if they were from the human resources area, etc. What sort of publications they published, books that they published, so I could understand and create a rapport with them when I was at the interview. So when I went to the interview, I knew pretty much, I think I knew more about them. Obviously, they didn't know much about me unless they research on Google, whatever. But I went to the interview very well prepared. I knew what the department was doing. I knew about the main projects that they were doing. I knew about the profile of those people there, and I was well prepared. So, and then in 2008, after the main roads at that time. And then in 2009, I became Australian citizen. I've applied, remember that I applied back in 2006, I applied for the skilled independent visa, and we had to wait, I think it was 19 months until we got our permanent residency in 2008. And then 1 year after, we were eligible to apply for citizenship. We became Australian citizenship in 2009. I was already working at the department, and then in 2010 I got promoted. I applied for another position. I became works manager for the commercial company in the department, a construction company, a public construction company, and also at that time I became a chartered professional engineer with Engineers Australia, and I became also a registered professional engineer of Queensland. And at that time, I started to interview engineers, and I started to review their CDRs, competency demonstration reports, and their technical reports. And I was doing interviews with them, with Engineers Australia. And then in 2013, I got a promotion again. I applied for another position, and I got a promotion. I became the operations manager for the same company here in Britain, where I look after now, and that's a position that I am until today. I look after pretty much the construction maintenance projects in that company for the whole Brisbane metropolitan region. Talk about asphalt pavements, bridge rehab, culverts, signage, guardrail, all the electrical infrastructure, street lighting, traffic signals, large VMS signs, variable message signs, and everything. So between pretty much I look after. I've got about 250 people working there, about 190 permanents, and about 60 contractors. So it's really a big operation, and I was certainly very happy with that. And then I decided that I wanted to help at that time. I wanted to, because in my interviews with Engineers Australia, I could see that a lot of engineers, they were struggling with putting together their paperwork, their reports. And I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something to help. And probably at that time I was going to create a website at that time, but some of you probably know because already told that in the workshop. But in 2013, then suddenly, without any signs, any notice, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. So I had a cancer that 100% obstructed my colon, and I had to. The day that I was diagnosed at midday. 4 p.m. I was already in the uh, operation theater at the hospital, having an emergency operation to remove 3/4, etc., etc., etc. And then all the monitoring. So it was really, really a tough time. And I had to put, obviously, to park that idea to help engineers because I had to look after my health first. And in the beginning, in the middle of that, between 2013 until last year, etc., etc. So until I ended up having another 6 or 7 surgeries in the middle, just biopsies and going inside and taking pieces just to test, but all the tests were coming back negative. So last year, then I was told that I was technically cured. So they were happy with the results of all of those testings and surgeries, etc. So I thought, well, now I can probably dedicate a little bit of time in doing things that I really wanted to do as well, and give back a little bit of what I got. All my education was done for free in Japan. We're funded by the Japanese government. My MBA, my employer paid for me in Brazil. So I thought, well, I need to give a little bit back. And Australia also being very generous with me and my family. So I decided that last year I created the site www.engineersinaustralia.com. So I worked. Yeah, I didn't know how the thing was going to go. I ended up receiving a lot of requests to help people, in particular providing consultancy services, etc. Because I work full time, I couldn't really provide one-on-one consulting. Also because I don't have the time, and also because it was going to be probably a little bit expensive. So, but people are still asking me, so that's when I decided to put together my online mentoring program. So I've worked 1 year since April last year until now. In April, the 23rd, we completed 1 year of engineersinaustralia.com, which I'm very happy. And some of the other main achievements while I am here in Australia, the first company that I worked for, Productivity Partners, I was pretty much the right hand of the owner, and we upgraded the company from a $300,000 business to about a $2 million business in revenue when I left after 2.5 years. Working already as an engineer then, I delivered several projects, some important projects like the 2011 Brisbane flooding infrastructure reconstruction. For those that heard or were here back in 2011, there was a big flooding and it wrecked the infrastructure, and I was part of the reconstruction as well. Those that live in Brisbane know the Riverside Expressway. I've replaced all the bearings and joints of that particular large structure. The Captain Cook Bridge rehabilitation, those ones in Brisbane, again, they can see that there is a very large platform underneath the bridge nowadays, and that's where we are doing some work. We're actually going to jack up the bridge. We're going to lift the bridge, replace the bearings, which are the support of some of the spans, and we're going to reinforce some of the joints as well. So 1.5 year, 1.5 years of project, and very, very important project here in Brisbane and Queensland. I did a lot of asphalt rehabilitation, road reconstruction, tunnel maintenance, electrical infrastructure, As I said, I've got about 250 people working in my business now. And then some main achievements with my little own project, Engineers in Australia. As you know, I've got my YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Help my channel to grow and the content to achieve more people. I've got already more than 80 videos in my YouTube channel with 6,678 views until now. I believe I was making some accounts with my wife. I think since last year until today, I've dedicated about more than 1,000 hours of my free time to distribute and to put together this content to you guys. So that content is absolutely free. The live sessions that I do every week is free. You just need to connect and watch. So I've dedicated more than 1,000 hours. So I really think that I'm doing my bit for the profession. I'm trying to help you guys to achieve your dream as well. I just have 248 subscribers to my YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. You just need to Google in the YouTube, Gerson Ida, and you will find me. My website has already 913 subscribers. So people, engineers, and others that are interested to know about the day-to-day of an engineer here in Australia. I've got my Facebook page, Engineers in Australia, has 1,589 followers. Thank you guys very much. My Instagram is growing. I'm not really an Instagram person, but it's growing. I've got 525 followers in my Instagram profile. And Telegram group is really, really important. If you're not in my Telegram group, Telegram is what is like WhatsApp, that you can connect to my group, and then there I send updates, I send news, videos, audios, and I share a lot of things about the validation process there as well. And since last year, I put together already 6 mentoring groups, 5 already completed, and I'm actually now running the 6th group. Classes started yesterday actually, and I'm very, very happy because I believe that I am helping, obviously, my students with my knowledge and trying to guide them for them to put together their validation paperwork. And what is very rewarding is that I had already 3 of my students that they applied for Engineers Australia validation, and all of the 3 got approved. So I got 1 civil engineer from Tasmania, I got 1 environmental engineer from Gold Coast, and I've got another civil engineer from Sydney. So I'm really, really happy that they are getting their qualification validated. 1 already applied for their visa and already got it. So I'm very happy that I can be part of that life transformation. So now I'm going to give you some professional hints, some of the hints that potentially can help you to achieve where you want to achieve. And as I said to you guys, I arrived here back in 2005. We didn't know anyone. At that time, social media wasn't like it is today, 15 years ago. I think there was Orkut. I had my Orkut account, but Orkut, yeah, it was probably just really social media. Nowadays, you can get a lot of help. You can get a lot of information with social media, live and my videos on YouTube as well. So the first professional hint is that Australia is very nice. It's a very nice country. I say that Australia is Brazil that works. So the climate and the weather can be very similar to my country of origin. It's a large country. Obviously, it's not as populous as Brazil, but it's got a lot of resources. There's plenty of opportunities. So, but Australia requires patience and persistence. Obviously, you need a little bit of money as well, but patience and persistence. So you got to be patient because things will work out. And nowadays, with this pandemic, obviously, it's much worse. I got a question in YouTube. I'm going back there soon. Yeah, thanks. So, uh, patience is really important and persistence because sometimes you will find yourself that day wasn't really your day. You tried to do something, didn't work out, you get frustrated, etc. I got frustrated many times. My wife got frustrated many times. But we had our objective. Our objective in the beginning was, all right, we're going to, when we decided to stay here, we're going to get our permanent visa. So that was our objective. Well, get our citizenship and get our Australian passport. Because we still thought that after this time in Australia, we would go back to Brazil and have a really good job. But once you are here, and once you are here, you fall in love with the country, and obviously we never came back. Another hint that I'll give to you guys is focus on the objective with no waste of time. Here in Australia, time is very, very valuable. When you work, you earn by hour. So the more you work, the more you earn. So time is really, really valuable here. But if you have an objective, you really, really gotta focus on that objective. Let's say, for example, if you guys want to become an engineer here in Australia to validating your qualification. So it's not easy. It's not easy. The process is simple, but it's not easy. It's difficult because it's got a lot of things that you gotta do. You gotta get the documentation, you gotta translate documentation, you gotta pass the English test, you gotta write your reports and everything, etc. And you gotta be approved by Engineers Australia. So it's a step by step. It's simple. The process is simple, but it is difficult. It's not easy. So you gotta be focused. If you're not focused, if you have other priorities, my advice is don't start the process. It's better for you not to start the process because if you are not focused, you will be distracted. And if you get distracted, you will get frustrated. And if you get frustrated, you're probably going to give up. So don't start the process. But when you start, keep focused and go forward. Full steam, like they say here, a todo vapor. Go full steam and focus on the process and focus on the objective. Some people say, yeah, Jason, but I don't have time, I don't have money, etc. And I think I spoke about this in previous lives. It's not that we don't have time or we don't have money. Everybody has the same amount of time every day, 24 hours in a day. What you do with that time is your discretion. You decide what you do. So it's a matter of priority. So let's say that you want to really learn English very quickly, so you can do your IELTS, PTE, or TOEFL, whatever, and you want to get a very good score. But then you say, oh, it's so difficult, etc. I don't have time. Well, you need to see what's your priority. Perhaps you need to do less of other things and do more of English studying. I don't have time to validate. All right. I don't have time to write the reports. Perhaps you need to not do other things that you are doing and then dedicate more time to write your reports. If you don't have money, well, I know it can be difficult, especially in this pandemic, but again, it's a matter of priority. When things were normal, if it's your priority to pay for the English test or to pay for a mentoring or to pay for the fees, you gotta probably not do other things. Maybe you don't go out every weekend. You just go maybe on a Friday. You don't go travel because you focus on something. So I know that's difficult because we want to have fun. We want to explore the country. We want to explore the country, Australia, but you got to put your priority. Another hint is you got to have a very good plan if you want to succeed. You have to have a plan. So think about it, stop and think about it. What do I have to do? What's the steps that I got to do? What are the constraints? What are the barriers that I got to face? What do I need to do to overcome those barriers? When am I going to do that? Do I need help? So think about it. You got to have a very strong and diverse network. As I said before, networking is really, really important. Uh, you got to start talking to people. You got to start attending events where you want to be in the future. If you want to be a project manager, perhaps you need to start attending the events that Australian Institute of Project Managers they attend. Yeah, but you got to be a member there. Yeah, you got to be a member. You got to invest. You got to pay the membership fee, but it will allow you to be in the events and be together with other project managers and companies. And you got to learn the Australian way when you're looking for a job. You have to customize your applications. You got to customize your CV. You got to customize your cover letter to make sure that you are doing in the way that Australians or Australian recruiters or companies they will accept. And I got few sayings here. I put my sayings. I've got a note so I don't forget. Feito é melhor que perfeito. So in English would be done is better than perfect. So if you wait until you become perfect or perfection, you're probably never going to start. So it's better for you to start, even though it's not perfect, but at least you started and then you can improve. And then if it's not now, then when? So if you say, no, I'm not going now, not doing now, not doing now, but then when? Is it when it's going to be too late? A lot of people, they ended up losing points. Not a migration agent, but I see that a lot of people, they say that they lost points because they waited so long to apply, etc., and they lost points. And it's not you, then who? If you're not doing yourself, nobody's going to do on your behalf. So you got to really be critical that you're the one that's got to do it. So if you haven't downloaded my I will, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I don't have the link here. Well, I can say that it's bit.ly, bit.ly /ebook 10 challenges. I'll see if I can quickly type in Instagram. So bit.ly at /ebook 10 challenges. So that's the English version of my free ebook. And in the Facebook, I'll put in the comments later on, same as in the YouTube. And if you're not, I'll read out the question in YouTube. Hi, Jerson, I got a question. How are you going to apply for an independent visa if you have no experience? Well, when I applied for my visa, when I came here in Australia, was back in 2005, and I graduated back in 1995. So I had already 10 years of experience. So, and the rules at that time about the points were a bit different. So I applied for my independent visa with my 10 years of experience, but I had to wait nearly 2 years. So it wasn't that quick. He's saying that, or she's saying, I'm an electronic engineer, graduated in 2015, but my experience is as security engineer since 2010. So I think I would get no experience when doing my skill assessments as electronic engineer. Yeah, potentially, if your experience does not really match the definitions of the ANZ SCO, occupation definition is going to be difficult. So, but you can validate your qualification using your university experience, but you may not get the points. So you got to talk to your migration agent about the points. And what else? So if you have any questions, please send me a question. My email is admin@engineersinaustralia.com. And if you have any suggestions for next live sessions, please send me in the comments. I'll be more than happy to talk about whatever subject you are interested. I do this live so you can have interest in a subject that it's beneficial for you guys. So, guys, I hope that the content was you've enjoyed my story, my journey in Australia, how I went from a toilet cleaner to a principal engineer. And I hope that you enjoyed my professional hints. And keep following me on Facebook and Instagram and my YouTube channel and Telegram. And next week, Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. on Sunday, I will be here again. I don't know what's the subject, so if you want me to talk about anything engineering related or validation related, please send me a message. And I'll thank you very much for your participation, your time, and your patience. And I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Brisbane time. See ya and bye.